Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu Me Bho Rama Mamuddhara. Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastvanirakaranam Me Astu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatsu Dharmaha Te Mayi Santu Te Mayi Santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We had seen three different types of upasanas, three ways of remembering the Lord. The first one was Adhibhuta Upasana, looking at something in creation and remembering the Leela that Bhagavan had done when he appeared in front of Devatas as Yaksha. Second one was Adidaivata Upasana. Adhibhuta was looking at lightning. Adidaivata was looking at or observing the blinking of an eyelid. Using that as a support in Sanskrit is called as alambanam. Using that as a support to turn attention to Bhagavan. That how light which illumines an object disappears and appears. Like that, Bhagavan took avatar and did all his leelas. The third one was paying attention to thoughts. The illumined becomes a means to recognize the illuminator. Thoughts are the illumined. Through thoughts, we are recognizing the presence of illuminator Bhagavan. Then we saw another upasana, which is very beautiful. More we can do siddhi of this upasana, greater is the benefit for that sadhaka. Siddhi means upasana is something which we have to know and actually sit down and do. When we keep doing for a long time with lot of reverence and regularly, long time, reverence, regularly, then there is siddhi of that sadhana. Meaning that sadhana starts opening up for us. Whatever results were promised, that results this sadhaka is blessed with. The main result what we are seeking is preparing our mind for Brahma Vidhya. That is how the introduction was given for this whole portion. Whatever shortcomings might be there. Devata's example was taken. It is that they had abhimana. And this abhimana became an obstruction for Brahma Vidhya. So to remove it and prepare ourselves for Brahma Vidhya is all this upasana. That is mukhya phalam, main phalam. Rest everything, it will come in its own time. Okay, so this is what we had seen. The name of Bhagwan was Tadvanam. Vanam means worshipful. Tad means of everybody. Tasya Vanam, Tadvanam. The one who is most dear to everybody. One who is worshipped by everybody. And we saw, if you just look at the literal meaning, it doesn't look like everybody worships Tadvanam or everybody knows Tadvanam. But there Bhagwan said, even unknowingly, we are worshipping Bhagwan only. Because we love ourselves dearly. And the one who is seated as innermost self is the same Lord. So whatever we are doing for our sake, really speaking, we are doing it for Bhagwan's sake, who is seated inside. Means whatever you do for the snake, for the sake of that illusory snake, we are really doing it for rope's sake only. Okay. In that way, Bhagwan who is seated as the innermost self, every offering finally goes to him. The catch here is, the one who has woken up knows it. The one who is ignorant does not know it. And he searches, says, I don't find Bhagwan anywhere. This is what our saints held on to, and they wrote compositions. So Kabir Das Ji, you must have heard a song, Moko kaha dhoonde re bande, main to tere paas mein. This is, where are you searching me? Where are you searching for me? I am right here with you. Now it looks like he's criticizing going for outer sadhanas. You went here, you went there, different pilgrimage. Did you find? What he means to say here is, through that, we should come to this understanding. All the other sadhanas will purify our mind and help us recognize Bhagwan right within. And if you have studied Vedanta, we'll also appreciate all three forms of the Lord. Same Bhagwan appears as Saguna Sakara also, as his creation. And he takes avatar in a particular form also. In fourth chapter, we had seen different types of avatar. One of the avatar of the Lord is called as Archavatar. Archavatar means that altar at which we can offer our archana, means which can be worshipped, and it is capable of doing the same things like Bhagwan did in other avatars, like Purna Avatar. Any avatar you take, whatever Bhagwan did, if you can bless a devotee in a physical form, his Archavatar also can bless. So he appreciates in all forms at different levels. But most importantly, recognizing that Bhagwan within. That is what brings a lot of changes in our transactional life. That is what sweetens also our transactional life. Okay. Because no jiva is excluded. There is no jiva in whom Tadvanam Bhagwan is not seated. So this sadhaka has shifted from interacting with a person to interacting with Bhagwan. That is his result of understanding. Now comes a very beautiful portion where everything is done. Upanishad is taught, story is told, upasanas are mentioned. Then comes our student and he says, "Oh teacher, please teach me Upanishad." And the teacher, he also answers. He doesn't scold him. He also answers by saying, what you have been taught is that supremost Upanishad only. And that is it. There is no further discussion. Now, sometimes we hear in a humorous way, see, there are students like this also. that you studied the whole Upanishad and now he is asking, please teach me Upanishad. But Bhagavan Shankaracharya says no. He said this is a student who is Parama Virakta. His dispassion level is at the topmost. He has vairagya from things in this world, vairagya from anything that karma can give. But he also has vairagya from everything that upasana can give. That's how Bhagavan introduces. And there are sub-commentaries on Bhagavan Shankaracharya's Bhashya, which introduce in this way. He says, upasana is so great, it can make an ordinary person extraordinary, like a king. If you remember the portion in Ramayana, where all Ayodhyavasis, along with Bharatji, they reach Bharadwaj's ashram. Out of his tapasya power, he creates a swarga for them. So much so that even those people who started the journey to meet Bhagwan, they also get deluded. Ayodhyavasis who are there, along with Bharatji, Goswamiji writes, he says, Bharatji did not get deluded. He did not take any of that bhoga. But everybody else who was there, they started feeling, oh, this is so nice. Why do you have to go further? Bhagwan is there. Others can go. We will stay here. But you see the power of Bharadwaj Rishi. One who lived such an austere life had the power to bring entire Swarga down. That is not Jnana Phalam. Huh? Such kind of power doesn't come by studying Upanishad and Vedanta. That is Upasana Phalam. Somebody who has done so much of Upasana meditation practices. But this is a seeker who after some time feels, I'm really not looking for any of these results. What I want is that abidance in the self, which is Nitya, which is eternal. There is no coming, going. I want to put an end to transmigration. And I want to abide in my own blissful self. That seeker is asking this question, please teach me Upanishad. Now Bhagwan further elaborates. He says, why do you think the student is asking this question? Or why would any student ask such a question? What is the question? Teacher, please teach me Upanishad. He says, why do you think student is asking this question? One option he gives. He might be asking this question because he wants the teacher to teach the Upanishad again. Sometimes it happens, right? You tell something and that person asks the same question again. Means either he did not hear, he is wanting us to repeat that same thing. But Bhagavan says this cannot be the case. Because he is Uttama Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari, if he has already heard and is asking again, that is like Pishtapeshana. Pishtapeshana means if you have ground something already and it has become like a fine powder. After some time you come and start grinding again. That act, which is in doing something which has already been done, that is called as Pishtapeshana. Such examples are given in many of these bhashya terms to show that if you are doing something again which has already been done, there is no need to do it. It sometimes happens when multiple groups are working on one project. One group will come, they'll say our seva is to mop the floor. They will mop and go. Second group will come, see the same thing and again mop it. Seva, it is okay. But he says when it comes to Shastra, there is no need for doing the same inquiry again. So he says this cannot be the import of his question, Pishtapeshanam. It will be Pishtapeshanam if he is just asking the teacher to repeat that whole thing again. Next alternative Bhagavan gives. Second reason why he is asking this question is, What is the question? Please teach me Upanishad again. Or please teach me Upanishad. Could be because he's feeling that Upanishad is not complete yet. Means teacher was telling, and in between Upasana portion started, story came. He says, teacher, is there anything more to be taught in this Upanishad? That could be the second reason why he's telling, please teach me Upanishad. It happens sometimes, right? You start elaborating a topic, explaining a topic, or telling somebody something, and in between you go somewhere else, totally tangential. And you do all those things you have described. And the other person feels, are you done? Means whatever you are telling, did you complete, or is there something more? Bhagavan says that could be the second reason why the student is asking this question. He says, is there something more to be taught in Upanishad? What do you think? Could this be the reason? Could be, could be. Some are saying yes. But remember, he is Uttama Adhikari. Huh? Bhagavan says, if he is a Uttama Adhikari, he will never ask this question. Can you guess why? Huh? First section, but he says precisely, phala shruti of Upanishad is already told. Pretyasmat lokat amrutah bhavanti. Means if phala shruti is told, there is nothing more to be told. If he is Uttama Adhikari, he has heard precisely how Upanishad unfolded. He asked a question, answer was given. At the same time, phala shruti was mentioned. What is the result of this knowledge? He says, once phala shruti for moksha is given, what else can be there to be told in Upanishad? So he says both are not possible. First one was, he just asking the teacher to repeat it. He says that is not possible because Pishtapeshana. And second is, he might be asking, if there is something more to be told, please elaborate that point. He says that is also not possible because he knows phala shruti of Upanishad has already been told. Then Bhagavan says, what could be the import of this student's question? He says, what he's asking is this. You have Brahma Vidhya, which has already been told so far. Is that Brahma Vidhya independent in giving result? Or does it depend on sadhanas? Is Brahma Vidhya independent in giving result? Or does it expect some other sadhana to give result? In common terms it is, now I have heard theory, I need to do something which is practical. That is a modern way of saying. All I have heard is theory. Now I need to do some application of this knowledge. If that is so, he says, please tell me what are those sadhanas? If Brahma Vidya needs some sadhanas to give result, if it is yes, then please tell me what are those sadhanas by which Brahma Vidya will give result. But pay attention to his question. What is his question? Is Brahma Vidya independent in giving result? He says, I have heard Upanishad. I have heard all the mantras. I have heard phala shruti also. But for me to get that phala shruti, is studying Upanishad alone sufficient? Or do I need to do something more after studying so that I can get that phala shruti? If the answer is yes, I need to do something more, then please tell me what are those things. Like, should I do some more tapasya? Should I do some more damaha? What these things are, next mantra will elaborate. Should I do some more nitya karma? Whatever my regular anushtanam is there, should I do more of that? Or should I hold on to some other value? by which this Brahma Vidya will give me that phala shruti. What is this phala shruti? One attains immortality. Having known Brahman, there is no rebirth. While living here, he rejoices and lives a very independent life, not depending upon world for happiness. There's all these phala shrutis which were there. Do I need to do any of those? Tapa, dama, karma, or some value anushtanam to get that phala shruti? If yes, then please tell me what are those sadhanas. If no, then please tell me conclusively that Brahma Vidya alone is the supremost knowledge. There is nothing more to be known after that. Nothing more to do after that. Knowing alone will give the result. Please tell me conclusively. This is the import of his question. Please teach me Upanishad. It's a very innocent looking question, right? So much of thought behind why is he asking that question. So what will be told here is, I'm just summarizing whatever is coming in Bhashya. Then when we enter Bhashya, it becomes very simple. What is being told here is, you draw a line between Brahma Vidya and everything else. Whatever sadhana it is, whatever other things are there, you say keep it separate. The purpose of all those sadhanas is to bring Brahma Vidya, is to prepare our mind such that we can appreciate Upanishad in its true essence. That there is something which is beyond sense organs, knowing which that knowledge gives eternal result. To appreciate this point, we need all sadhanas. We need all sadhanas to prepare our mind such that we can appreciate Vedanta in this way. First of all, nature of Brahman itself is so subtle. If something which is not seen doesn't become object of sense organs, to have this understanding that such a thing exists, that itself needs subtlety of mind. This is all sadhanas will bring it to us. But Brahma Vidya by itself is independent in giving result. Now we'll have many questions. If sadhana is going to bring Brahma Vidya, why don't we say that Brahma Vidya depends upon sadhanas? The thing is, any sadhana we take, what is the fundamental thing that sadhana needs? Karta. I am a doer. I am finite. Without accepting finitude, there is no sadhana which is possible. But in sadhana, we are not addressing finitude aspect. And that is not something we want to remove through sadhana. What we want to remove through sadhana is all other erroneous things. When we say obstructions that can be there for a jiva, we say it is not only ignorance which is an obstruction. There is also impurity of the mind and there is distraction of the mind. Sanskrit word is mala, is impurity, and vikshepa, distraction. Means whatever adharmic thoughts are there, they will fall under mala. And whatever distracting thoughts are there, they will fall under vikshepa. And if these two are there, they are very much capable to give sorrow. And if we say, I want to remove only ajnanam, and mala vikshepa I will keep, that will not work. So sadhana will remove mala vikshepa, And jnanam will remove ajnanam. But when it removes ajnanam, it will also remove karta. It will also remove the doer. That is why we cannot say Brahma Vidya depends upon karma for phala shruti. Because phala shruti is, I am that consciousness. I am infinite, in which creation is appearing. Now, that phala shruti we want, there can be no trace of finitude that we can hold on to. See, whenever we hear these discussions, we should not feel they're doing or they're criticizing sadhana. No Mahatma will do it, no Rishi Muni will do it. One Mahatma ji would say, साधना का निषेध करने से कुछ नहीं होता, निषेध की भी एक साधना होती है. साधना का निषेध करने से means only by refuting sadhana nothing happens. Of refutation there is a sadhana, means that is apavada. There is a systematic way in which this apavada is done, and there is a systematic way in which adhyaropa is also done. So whenever we hear this discussion, we should not go in this tangential point thinking that, oh, they are criticizing sadhanas. If sadhana is bringing Brahma Vidya, how can it not depend upon it? How can Brahma Vidya not depend upon sadhana? The main point there is sadhana needs karta. Sadhana needs ahankara. And Brahma Vidya negates that ahankara. Okay, so it is not part of Brahma Vidya. Means sadhana is not part of Brahma Vidya. If you want to understand what is this part-whole relationship, there are few examples. Okay, all of this will come in Bhashya. Huh? Okay, this example you see first. We'll go to that point later. Huh? Part-whole relationship. This point actually Madhusudana Saraswati ji writes in 4th chapter commentary. Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparas sanyatendriyah jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. He says jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. Having gained this knowledge, that sadhaka attains supremost peace. How long does it take? This is not too long. Achirena adhigacchati. So Madhusudana Saraswati ji writes, this line is to show that knowledge is independent in giving result. Shraddhavan labate jnanam tatparah sanyitendriya. So Shraddha, Tatparata, and control over sense organs. Shraddha means having firm faith. Then Tatpara means choosing Brahman to be our goal. Single pointed choice is called as Tatparata. And Sanyatendriya, moderation in all activities, being very, very alert in every transaction. These things, they are the sadhanas. But those sadhanas take us to a point where knowledge can take place. Jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. The phalashruti of jnanam is shanti, peace. If creation is negated, including ahankara, what can be there to disturb? If that non-dual truth alone is established, there is no duality to bring ashanti. He says that is the phalashruti, and for that phalashruti, for that result, knowledge alone is sufficient. Knowledge is independent in giving that result. If you include any doership, he says that result will not come. Then he gives a beautiful example. He says, just like a lamp is independent in dispelling ignorance, independent in dispelling darkness, like that knowledge independently dispels ignorance and brings the result. But you might say, oh, I went to the store to get the oil. I went to the store to get the wick. So many things I did to light that lamp. He said, getting all those ingredients is sadhana. But in dispelling darkness, oil had no direct role to play. Light is the one which dispels darkness, and it is independent. Okay, this example we can keep in mind, but it will push us a lot in our sadhana and absorbing Vedanta teaching as it is. That when Vedanta says, karma cannot give moksha. Karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam nyatva vimokshase. 13 yajnas Bhagavan described in 4th chapter. And his final message was, having known all of these yajnas to be born out of karma, you will be liberated. Means what? Through those yajnas, remove mala and vikshepa. Know that ahankara also to be an appearance in consciousness and be free from all bondage. Evam nyatva vimokshase. Means knowledge is independent in giving that phala shruti. So what we are refuting over here is this point that Brahma Vidhya is not the whole and the sadhanas are part of that whole. It is called as Anga Angi Sambandha. Angi means the whole, Anga means the part. So here it is not that Brahma Vidya is the whole and all the sadhanas are the part of this Brahma Vidya. Means unless that part is there, the whole will not be fulfilled. Okay. Now see some examples for this. Best one is our jigsaw puzzle. The whole thing is the Angi, whatever image you see. And that small individual thing is Anga. Unless you fit it, the puzzle is not complete. Angi is not complete without that Anga. It says like that, Brahma Vidya is not Angi. And sadhanas are Anga of this Angi. Okay, English. Brahma Vidya is not the whole and sadhanas are the part. Means unless that sadhana comes, then only this Brahma Vidya is complete in giving result. He said that is not the case. And this point will keep coming. If you read Bhashya, these examples you should appreciate. What are we referring to here? See, every other knowledge we have gained, we have to know and we have to do. So that doing becomes part of that whole result that we are seeking. So cooking is one example. You have heard how to make something. That is one part. But unless I go and do it, I will not get the phala shruti. Right? Hunger will remain as it is. Unless I start cooking, I will not get the result. So that action of cooking becomes anga. It becomes the part and whatever I want to get as a result. Right? Fulfilling my hunger. That will be the angi. So if I want to fulfill my hunger, knowing alone is not sufficient. I need knowing plus doing. So knowing is one anga, doing is another anga. Like that, he says Brahma Vidya is, that is not how Brahma Vidya works. That if I want absolute peace, that I have to know Upanishads and then I have to do something to get that absolute peace. Knowing alone is sufficient. But I hope these examples are clarifying what is this anga angi. Okay, last one I will mention. Day-to-day examples only. You all have seen triathlon, right? or heard about triathlon. They have three things involved there. One is you have to swim, you have to run, that's okay, it's okay. And then you have to bike also. If you want to say that I have completed the race, you have to do all three. I don't know which order they do it, but let's say you did swimming first, and then you biked, and you said, now I'm done. Unless you do that running part, you will not get the result. I don't do this triathlon. I don't know if they have partial points. You have to do all three, right? To say that you have completed the race. So that last part of walking will become anga. It will become the part. And me wanting to complete the race is angi. Okay, so there are three angas over here. First I have to swim, then I have to bike, then I have to walk or run, not walk. Unless I do all three, the result is not going to come. Okay. So like that, just like walking was an anga for that result, he says sadhana is not an anga for phala shruti. Brahma Vidhya is independent in giving that phala shruti. Okay, now you might be wondering, who is this person with whom we are debating? This is actually a very subtle Purva Paksha coming from Purva Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa means ritualist. According to Purva Mimamsa, everything is an anga of karma only. Ishavasya Upanishad, we had seen that in the introduction. Amna yasya kriyartatvat anarthakyam atadarthana. Amna yasya means Vedas. Kriyartatvat. They are meant for some or the other ritual. If it is not, then it is anarthakyam. It is meaningless. Atadarthanam. If you don't use it for some ritual, then that Veda mantra is meaningless. So what happens in most rituals is, they will have some main ritual. And at the end of that ritual, you have to do some yajna. Unless you do that yajna, you will not get the phala shruti. So over here, the example is given of Darsha Purnamasa. Darsha Purnamasa, it has so many things to do with fasting. The main sadhana is of fasting. But in spite of doing that fasting, on the last day, you have to do a yajna. Unless you do that yajna, the phala shruti of that whole Darsha Purnamasa sadhana will not be attained. So that yajna becomes anga of that phala shruti. Means unless you do it, you will not get the result. Or sometimes they say, after doing this particular puja, you have to go to some pilgrimage place and offer something there. Unless you offer it, the result will not be considered to be complete. It is unlike that. Brahma Vidhya is independent in giving result. There is nothing to be done after that. Okay. But the main point is, it removes karta and negates his whole creation as mithya. Okay, now you see the mantra and bhashya. Upanishadam bho bruhi iti ukta te Upanishad Brahmim Vavata Upanishadam Abruma iti Abruma iti. This mantra we had seen last time, right? Upanishadam bho bruhi. Student is asking, "Oh teacher, please teach me Upanishad." Ukta, teacher who has been asked in this way, he is responding, Ukta te Upanishad Brahmim. You have already been taught that supreme most Upanishad. Means he is conclusively telling there is nothing more to be taught. Vavat Upanishadam Abruma iti. And whatever remaining portion is there in this Upanishad, sadhanas are mentioned So whatever we saw in that slide, right? Tapa, dama, karma, satyam. Those sadhanas are mentioned in the next mantra. What he says, those sadhanas are to make us fit for Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya prapti sadhanam it is. Brahma Vidya doesn't depend upon them. It's like bringing the oil, the wick, matchbox. All of that is part of sadhana. Main thing is light dispelling darkness. Evam anushishtah shishyah आचार्यम उवाच उपनिषदं रहस्यं यच्चिन्त्यं भो भगवन् ब्रूहि इति एवं उक्तवती शिष्ये आह आचार्यः उक्ता अभिहिता ते तव उपनिषद एवं अनुशिष्टा शिष्यः. Anushishta Shishya means the student who has already been taught in this way. He has been taught Shrotrasya Shrotram, he has been taught phala shruti, he has been taught Akhyayika, and he has been taught all Upasanas also. Anushishta Shishya, and he must have practiced also. Because teaching there would go on for a long time. You know, traditional Gurukulas, only one class a day. Because whole day, there are so many other things they had to do. Right? Upanishad Rishi, he will have cows to take care of. They have to take that cow to graze, take care of ashram work. And in and through that whole thing, reflect on this teaching. When cows are grazing, he has to reflect upon Shrotrasya Shrotram. So that would also ensure that the student is reflecting on that knowledge. Nowadays, we can drive and reflect. That is our modern version, in a safe way. In a safe way. If you listen to Gurudev's Kaivalya Upanishad talks, there he mentions this point. That talk he had given in the US. He says, people come and complain to me, I don't have time, I don't have time. Don't tell me you don't have time. 2 hours you're on the road driving. Listen to this and reflect upon it. And when I listened to it, I said, that is true. Throughout the day, there are so many windows which I'm doing something else. And if we can keep that Upanishadic thought in our mind, right? That is why memorizing is helpful. If not the main shloka and the Sanskrit part, at least the key ideas. Traditional example is, we should study and do our sadhana like a cow. You know how cow eats grass first and then chews it later. Digestion also happens later. He says like that, whatever ideas you have listened, throughout the day, it should keep ringing in our mind. Whenever you blink eyelids, whenever you see a thought, tadvanam, all of those ideas. So like this, that student who has been told in this way, evam anushishta shishyah acharyam uvacha. He's telling his teacher. Upanishadam rahasyam. That Upanishad which is very subtle. It's a secret knowledge. Rahasyam yat chintyam, that which has to be thought of. Bho Bhagavan bruhi. O teacher, please teach me. Look at his bhava. Huh? He says Bhagavan to his acharya. Evam uktavati shishye. The student who has said in this way, acharya aha. Teacher is again telling him now. Ukta abhihita te tava Upanishad. Whatever has to be told as Upanishad, that has already been told to you. Okay. Ka punaha sa ityaha Brahmim Brahmanah Paramatmanah Iyam Brahmitam Paramatma Vishayatvat Atita Vijnanasya Vava Eva Te Upanishadam Abrumeti Uktam Eva Paramatma Vishayam Upanishadam Abruma Iti Avadharayati Uttarartham Paramatma Vishayam Upanishadam Shrutavatah Upanishadam Bho Bruhi Iti Pruchatah Shishyasya Kaha Abhiprayah. Now, why is he adding the word Brahmim Upanishad? In mantra, Brahmim word is there, right? See in your mantra, Brahmim word is there. Upanishadam Brahmim. So why is that word Brahmim coming? He says that is to elaborate on the nature of Upanishad. Ka punaha sa, what is that knowledge which has been taught? He says Brahmim, Brahmana Paramatmana Iyam Brahmim Tam. That which reveals the nature of Brahman. That is Upanishad. And it reveals the nature as one's own self. Param Atmanaha. Reveals the nature of that supremest truth as one's own self, Atma. That is why it is called as Brahmim Upanishad. Paramatma Vishayatvat Atita Vijnanasya. Its Vishaya topic is Paramatma. What has just been elaborated in this whole Upanishad, Shrotrasya Shrotram, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. All of that is the same subject matter. Vav evate Upanishadam Abruma iti Uktam eva. Paramatma Vishayam Upanishadam Abruma iti Avadharayati Uttarartham. Whatever portion is going to come next, that is the sadhana, the means to prepare our mind for this Upanishad. What is Upanishad has already been told. If you want to know some sadhanas, he says that we will tell later. Okay. Means with this statement, he is conclusively telling that Upanishad has already been concluded. Paramatma Vishayam Upanishad Shrutavatah, the student who has heard Upanishad, which is of this Paramatma Vishaya. Upanishadam Bho Bruhi Pruchatah, the one who is asking this question, please teach me Upanishad. Shishyasya, of that student. Kaha Abhiprayah, what could be the import? What could be the reason he is asking this question? Since we have already seen it, I'll just directly explain now. It's the same part which is going to come. Yadi tavat shrutasya arthasya prashnaha krutaha. If he is asking the question about what he has already heard, tataha pishtapeshanavat, grinding what is already ground. Pishtapeshanavat punaha uktaha anartaka prashnaha syat. That question will be meaningless because he is an Uttama Adhikari. He will never ask the same thing twice. Eka party he is. Listens once, remembers. Atha Savasheshokta Upanishad Syat. Second option is he feels there is some Shesha remaining in Upanishad. Means teacher was telling something, in between he stopped. There is something more that teacher has to tell. That could be the second reason why he is asking this question. Please teach me Upanishad. He says even that is not an option. Even that is not possible because he is Uttama Adhikari. Tataha tasyaha phalavachanena upasamharaha. By phala shruti, upasamhara has already been done. You know, a technical way to look at this is, this student is the one who has done thorough Shravanam. What is the definition of Shravanam? When we can understand the import of Upanishad through Shadvida Linga, 6 limbs. Upakrama, Upasamhara. Abhyasa, second one is Abhyasa, Apurvata, Phalam, Arthavada, Upapatti. Vedanta Sara we had seen. But don't worry if you are new to these terms. What are the 6 ways by which we can determine what is the main essential teaching of any subject matter? See what is said in the beginning, see what is said in the end. Upakrama, Upasamhara. See what is repeated, Abhyasa. See what is pointed out as a uniqueness, Apurvata. Pay attention to what is phala shruti. What is the result? See what is praised, Arthavada. And last thing is, see where logic is used to establish. So if he has already listened to Upanishads and done Shravanam by applying the 6 limbs, he has already paid attention to Upakrama, Upasamhara, Phalam. Beginning and end, he has paid attention. And the result also he has paid attention. All of you remember these terms, right? Many are looking at a blank. We had seen the practical application also of 6 terms. If you want to know what is the essence of our day, apply all the 6 limbs. How did we start? How did we end? What did we repeat? What did we praise? Where did we put our mind, logic? And what is the result that we value? 6 limbs, you can apply to a presentation, apply to a research paper. If you apply it to Shastra, you will get to know the Tatparya of Shastra, essential meaning of scriptures. He says that he has done. So if he has heard Phala Shruti, he will not ask this question again. Please teach me Upanishad. Or there is something more to be taught in Upanishad. He knows that Upanishad teaching is complete. What is that Phala Shruti which has already been told? Pretyasmat lokad amrutaha bhavanti. The one who knows this knowledge, having dropped this body, doesn't take any more births. No more rebirth. That is the Phala Shruti. Tasmat ukta Upanishad shesha vishayah api prashnaha anupapannaha eva. Therefore, the second option which is there, that student might be asking because something else is remaining. He says that option is also not possible. Anavasheshitvat. There is no avashesha remaining of this Upanishad. Kahatari abhiprayah prashtuhu iti uchyate. What could be the purport? What is the import of the student's question that is being said now? Kim purvokta Upanishad sheshataya tat sahakari sadhanantara apeksha atha nirapeksha eva. Whatever Upanishad was mentioned in the beginning, whatever Upanishad was taught, to give result, does that Upanishad depend upon some other sadhana? Does it depend upon some other sadhana? Just like cooking depends upon, or the result of fulfilling hunger depends upon actually cooking. The triathlon, completing the triathlon depends upon the last portion of the race. Like that, is there some sadhana which is there on which this Brahma Vidhya depends to give phalam? He says that is his question. That is what he is asking. Sapeksha chet apekshita vishayam upanishadam bruhi. If your answer is yes, that Brahma Vidhya depends upon something to give result, then please tell me what those things are. Please tell me those sadhanas. Atha nirapeksha chet, if Brahma Vidhya is independent, it doesn't depend upon any karma to give result. If it is nirapeksha, avadharaya, please conclusively tell me that Brahma Vidhya is independent. Means look at his Shraddha. That word Bhagavan that he said to his teacher represents his faith. Shraddhavitto bhutva. He says, if my teacher says Brahma Vidhya is independent in giving result, he says that is the final thing. I will align my thoughts, my understanding to that teaching of his. If he does not and says there is something more to be done, he says, please tell me, I will do that also. This is his mumukshuta. Nirapeksha chet avadharaya. He's giving example also, like Pippalada Muni. Pippaladavat. Prashnopanishad teacher's name is Pippalada Muni. After teaching, he says, this is the final teaching. Nothing more to be taught. He says, like Pippalada Muni, please tell me, na ataha param asti. There is nothing more than this Brahma Vidya. Iti evam abhipraya. This is the understanding. This is the reason behind his question. Etat upapannam acharyasya avadharanam vachanam. Uktate Upanishad. The question he asked was conclusive answer. Is there something which is to be done after Brahma Vidya, or is Brahma Vidya independent? So the teacher's answer, we have taught you Upanishad only, or that Upanishad has already been taught to you, is the Avadharana Vakya. He is conclusively telling Brahma Vidya is independent in giving result. There is nothing more to be done. Okay, all these points we have seen before. Next portion, there is small portion in Bhashya. The Purva Paksha comes and says, the next mantra is talking about sadhana. How come you came up with this understanding that Brahma Vidya is independent? If next mantra is talking about sadhana, anybody can argue that the student asked, is Brahma Vidya independent or it needs some other sadhana? The teacher said, we taught you Upanishad, now we will teach you some sadhanas. So why can't those sadhanas be Anga of Brahma Vidya? Okay, that is taken up. We will see in the, not next weekend, we'll have Mahashivratri next Saturday. So I hope all of you have marked your calendars to be here the whole day, if possible. Morning we have Rudram chanting and Homam also will be there. All the details are there on the website. And evening will start 6:30 Swaranjali bhajans. After that 7:30 onwards, beautiful pujas all the way until next day morning. Okay. That day, if you can not have any other appointments, that would be ideal. Shivaratri day, just be here. Okay. Other than that, we'll have our recap session, part of our class on 25th, which is a Saturday, the Saturday after the next one. We'll have some recaps here. Then March 4th is when I'll be in Sandramon. So we'll have first, second, third Yajna in Sandramon. But on 4th, we will have online class. Okay, so all the summaries on that day will happen online. So those who are coming in person, please note, on 4th, it's only online. We have class. Okay. And if all of you can come to the Shiva Sankalpa Suktam talks also, that would be nice if you are in and around that area. Or if you can drive up there, carpool. Several options are there. Shiva Sankalpa Suktam, if there is one chant that all of us should do every day, that is Shiva Sankalpa Suktam. Doesn't matter what is the age group, if it's a child, adult. There are so many facets to this mind, very beautifully pointed out. One from our self-effort standpoint, another from Bhagwan's grace standpoint. And even if it is high schooler, we'll keep it, very simple and more generic. So they can also benefit from it. So first, second, third, if you can mark your calendars. Then 4th will be Kenopanishad class in the morning. Balvihar will be per schedule. Everything will be on. But next coming weekend is our Shivaratri. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om, everyone.